Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bonfire Conversations. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm sure you had better use for your time, but you're still here. That really means a lot. Now, I have been toying with this idea for quite some time now, and finally, I mustered the courage to put this into action. Now, honestly speaking, this is completely uncharted territory for me. Haven't done anything like this before. This is completely an experiment, to be honest. I don't know how it is going to pan out. I don't even know whether there's going to be a second episode. Only time will tell. Now, a few things. There is something you should know. This show, ladies and gentlemen, has been hosted on state of the art equipment. So, when I say state of the art, it is obviously loaded with sarcasm. There is just a basic laptop with standard configuration. And to top it off, I am also using a bunch of free softwares which has the bare minimum features to keep this afloat. Now, coming to the mic has some questionable noise cancellation. So, in case you hear some traffic honking or some dogs barking in the background, I request you to please put up with it. Now, I did not want this show to be self-deprecating, but these are the facts. Don't expect some Sanjay Leela Bansali kind of production values on this one. Yeah, that's a sincere request. Now, anyways, coming to the show. So the initial plan was to have a guest on the show and have a discussion on movies. So that was the plan. Now, unfortunately, this friend of mine who was supposed to be the guest on the show kept procrastinating, kept dilly-dallying. Kal karenge, parso karenge. You know the pattern. Finally, we did agree on June. And when June arrived, he's like, bro, July mein pakka karenge. So this brings me to the law of friendship. Very important. The first law of friendship states that your friends are most likely to ditch you when you need them the most. Can't do anything about it. Now, I've been told that time and tide waits for none. So I thought, why should I wait for this guy? Let me start off. And, anyways, this friend of mine is actually walking the streets of London as we speak. So he has nothing to complain. So I am doing all the complaining. Anyway, that's not the point of the show. But I'm really hoping that we get around to that movie discussion very soon. Fingers crossed on that one. Yeah, so let's hope that happens. Now, the question arose, if not movies, then what else? Now, friends, travel is something really close to my heart. I'm really passionate about traveling. In fact, being able to travel is a dream that I've harbored right from the time I was a student. So, on so many occasions, I have held a book in my hand. I used to stare out the window and just wander off into my own little dream world, just imagining that I'm traveling to all these places. I'm just visiting all these places. It was a huge dream for me. Now, I consider myself fortunate that I have been able to convert this dream of mine into reality, at least to a large extent. I wouldn't say it is completely good fortune. There is also a lot of hard work that has gone into it. But anyway, considering my love for travel, I thought this can be a good starting point. So here we are. So let's get down to business. Let's set the ball rolling. So, friends, about 5 years back, I set out on a solo journey to the northeastern part of India, the states of Arunachal Pradesh and Nagaland, to be more specific. Now, this was totally a 2 week trip, about a week per state. But my today's narration is going to be centered around my experiences in Nagaland. Now, Arunachal Pradesh, no doubt, it's a very beautiful place, quite amazing, to be honest. But Nagaland, different ball game altogether. So, yes, today's focus is going to be Nagaland. Now, I also thought, let me bring some structure to this narration instead of walking around like a headless chicken without any sense of direction whatsoever. And being a huge fan of this filmmaker, Quentin Tarantino, just like his movies, I have broken this narration down into various chapters. So let's dive in. Chapter 1. So, chapter 1, I'm going to be talking about Kohima, which is the capital city of Nagaland. Now, I have titled this chapter Lapata Hornbills. So there is a reason for this. I will come to that in a while. Now, friends, to get to Kohima, you have to first get to Dimapur in Nagaland. Now, since Kohima is completely in the hills, it is only accessible by roads and there is no direct connectivity from other states. So what I did is I took a train from Guwahati in Assam to Dimapur in Nagaland. So Dimapur is like an entry point if you want to get to Nagaland. From Dimapur to Kohima, one of the best options available is to take a shared taxi. So there is a hub where you can just go buy a ticket and hop into one of these shared taxis. That is most economical and the most convenient to travel to Kohima. There is also a point on permit. Now, to enter Nagaland, a separate permit is required even if you are an Indian citizen. So this is because of the border regulations what they have. But I am not getting into the details of this permit business because I'm going to focus on what I think is the core part of my narration. So in case anybody wants any info on that permit, I'm going to leave my email ID towards the end. You can definitely write in. So I got my permit. I went to this station where you have shared taxis, purchased a ticket, hop into one of the taxis, and I was on my way to Kohima. Now, the road from Dimapur to Kohima, fantastic. So we have seen 4 lane, 6 lane highways. This is 1 lane. And the road for most part pretty bad. Now, Dimapur is on the plains. So at some point, you will start ascending into the hills. And on the way, you will be greeted by this signboard welcoming you to the hills of Nagaland. Now, a pertinent question here is road kahan hai? That's a really valid question. Now, when I went there 5 years back, road condition was pretty bad. Now, this is something you guys have to factor in the time difference. Now, obviously, after 5 years, things might have improved for the better, but this is something you'll have to keep in mind for the entire narration the time gap of 5 years. So, back then, road was pretty bad and it was pretty narrow as well. So, frequent traffic jams used to take place. Yeah, so I set out on the journey. Now, what was supposed to take me 3 hours to reach Kohima, it took me about 5 hours. On various occasions, I got stuck in traffic jams. I was stuck in the same point for a long time. Anyway, I made it to Kohima finally. So I reached Kohima at around 9 o'clock at night. So by this time, I was pretty exhausted. So I just had my dinner and I slept like a baby. So next morning is when I actually started exploring Kohima. And my first stop as part of my exploration of Kohima was the Nagaland State Museum. And friends, this is where things got very interesting. Now, once I entered into the museum, the first exhibit that I came across was this. This was the one of the first exhibits that I came across. Now, needless to say, this is not plastic. These are actual human skulls on display in a museum. Fabulous. Now, before I say anything after this, a disclaimer, I'm not a historian. So, whatever I'm going to blabber after this is based on the information that I've gathered uh, from the time that I was there, speaking to locals, speaking to tour guides, etc. So, in case you find some inconsistencies, please don't hold me to it. Yes, I am conveniently washing my hands off. Yeah, great. So, friends, Nagaland has about 16 tribes in total. A whopping 16 tribes. Imagine that. Each tribe has its own culture, their own language, etc. And back in the day, these tribes were at loggerheads. They were constantly at war with each other. They fought each other for food, territory, and whatnot. And the interesting part is, if you belong to a particular tribe and you killed somebody from the other tribe and you brought their head back, you could get a lot of respect, honor, and recognition in your own tribe. You have to literally get the head of a person from another tribe back as a trophy, and you could get a lot of respect within your tribe. So, this is how head hunting began. So, then people started going out on head hunting raids, trying to kill people from the other tribes. So, these skulls which are on display are the heads collected from one of those head hunting raids. Now, there is a board below this which explains this. I have a picture of that for you. Let me just put it up. So I hope this is legible. So this is more or less, what I have narrated just now. So for them, headhunting became something of a sport. If you think about it, it's just crazy. So yes, a lot of killing has happened in the past, and a lot of heads have been collected as trophies, and some of them are now in the Nagaland State Museum on display. Fascinating stuff. And just when I thought that this is the end of it, one of the second exhibits that I came across was this. Now, this is one of my personal favorites. Now, there was no board below this. If you ask me, pretty weird stuff, quite spooky as well. So I don't know what to make of this. This can easily be something from the Conjuring universe for those who have seen those horror franchises. Stuff of nightmares, actually. Now, don't worry, the entire museum is not this. They also have a collection of very good photographs from the past. I do have one of them here. So, this was a photograph taken back, I think, in the 1970s. So, this is Nagamis women in their traditional attire. And back then, this is how they used to dress every day. So, of course, now this has been replaced by modern clothing, but still, in some of the interior parts, you might still come across this. So, very interesting collection of photographs they have. This is a scene that they have recreated in the museum, which is about tool making. Now, Nagamis people excellent in tool making. Now, I've been told that when India was under British occupation, a couple of British officers they tried to sneak into Naga territory, so they were killed by arrows. And the Nagamis people found gun lying next to the British officer. So what they have done, they have taken this gun back with them. They have studied this gun, and they have reverse engineered. They have created a gun of their own based on the tools that were available to them at their disposal. That is just quite brilliant. Of course, may not be of the same quality, but they have created a own gun. So excellent in tool making, excellent craftsmen. Now, this is a depiction of a Naga warrior. So yes, they used to dance with the weapons. So that scene has been created here in the museum. So anybody who's wanting to go to Nagaland, I definitely suggest going to this museum. Personally, I love museums because I feel they give you a very interesting peek into the culture and history of a particular place. Now, this is a collection of weapons. So these are spears which were used for both head hunting as well as animal hunting, depending on the situation. And I've been told that more the decoration, so that told you about the rank of that person in that particular tribe. So this is a collection of spears which was used. Now, some more weapons for you. Some of them are in weird shapes. Never see anything of that sort. So yeah, Nagaland State Museum definitely must watch. Now I've made it a point not to flood with too many pictures. It takes the thrill away. So please go to the Nagaland State Museum if you ever plan a trip to Nagaland. Now I know there are some comments coming in, but I will just finish my first chapter and I'll just go to the comments. So once I was done with the museum, my next stop in Kohima was the Naga Heritage Village. So this heritage village is located about 1.5 to 2 hours from Kohima. And the significance of this heritage village is this village hosts the most important Naga festival, that is the Hornbill Festival. So this festival happens every year around December. And the specialty of this festival is during this festival, all the 16 Naga tribes they come together and they showcase their culture and heritage. So this is a festival which attracts a lot of tourists. And my timing was a little off. I couldn't visit during the Hornbill Festival, but still, I had an opportunity to visit the heritage village where this festival is conducted. Now, what they've done is they have built this amphitheater, so or the arena. So this is where the festival takes place. So they have an elaborate schedule which is prepared, which tribe is going to come and showcase their culture when. They also have cultural dances and things like that. So I would suggest if somebody is visiting Nagaland, try to visit during the Hornbill Festival. That is going to be an excellent experience for you. I missed it because of my timing. But anyway, I had the entire arena to myself. So if you come during the festival, please expect a lot of crowd because it attracts tourists from all over India. And of course, things are also going to be a little expensive, but I think it will be worth it. So what I did is I took a tour around this arena. And interestingly, as a part of this setup, they have created a traditional hut of each of the Naga tribes. So I have a picture of few huts for you. So I think this is a very good idea. They have created these traditional huts as a part of this arena. So the first hut belongs to the most powerful Naga tribe, that is the Konyak Nagas. So they were considered to be very powerful, very dangerous back then because of the war which was happening between the tribes. So they have a lot of dominance in Nagaland. So this is the first hut that belongs to the Konyak Nagas, most influential Naga tribe. So I just have few pictures, not all 16. The second one, so this belongs to the Ringma Naga. Now, as you can see, suddenly now there is a difference in the architecture. So every tribe has its own architecture and stuff. So this belongs to the Ringma Naga. This belongs to Phom Naga. So again, you can see a shift in the architecture. The carvings are different. It is just fabulous. The last one that I have, this belongs to the Chung Naga. Now there is a black object that you can see inside the hut with the face of an animal on it. Initially, I felt this is some kind of a boat, but as it turns out, this is a drum. This is a traditional drum. So during the festival, people stand on both the sides. They beat this drum. Now, I would like to draw your attention to the horizontal wooden bar. So you can probably see carving of a bird over there. So the bird with the black body and yellow beak. So friends, that is the hornbill. So that is a native bird found in Nagaland and nearby areas, including the country of Burma. So I was really curious. I wanted to see hornbill. So I asked my tour guide, where will I able to find hornbill? He said, Sir, yahan nahi dikhega. I'm like, Kyun? And this is the response I got. I kid you not. He said, ye sab maar ke kha gaye. This is verbatim what he told. He's saying ye sab maar ke kha gaye. Now, this might be definitely an exaggeration, but couple of factors here. Number one, if you look at the topography of Nagaland, it is completely in the mountains. So the land as such is not really suitable for cultivation. So they do have some rice cultivation in patches, but nothing substantial. So that is why historically they have been hunting for food. And the second factor, I have been told that as far as 10 years back or 15 years back, even in remote places, if somebody woke up in a Nagamese household and they did not find food at home, then they used to just take their weapon, come out, and kill anything that is moving. So if they find a bird on the branch of the tree, that became their breakfast. So if you consider all these things in totality, maybe that was not really an exaggeration after all. So I mean, I'm not sure. I can't really authenticate that. So I asked him, if I want to see, where can I see hornbill? So he said either you have to go deep into the forest, then you have a good chance of sighting the hornbill, or you might have to go to all the way to Burma to sight an hornbill. So, anyways, that was not possible for me. So what I did is, whenever I went out, and I was out for most of the day, I tried to search for this hornbill everywhere. I kept looking, but in vain, no avail, not a single sighting of hornbill. So that is the reason for the title. So in fact, this also reminds me of a song by Linkin Park. Tried so hard, got so far, but in the end, doesn't even matter. So Hamil to dikha nahi, can't help it. You don't get everything in life. So yeah, was about my first chapter. I'll just take a couple of comments which I have here. Okay, thank you so much, guys, for the appreciation. I will just continue with the second chapter now. Okay, so this was my story in Kohima. So after I was done with Kohima, I had a couple of options. Option number one, I could go and visit other places, other cities like Mokokchung, for example, or I could do a more daring adventure and go to the most remote village in Nagaland, situated on the India-Burma border, called Longwa village, which is the cultural capital of the most powerful Naga tribe, that is the Konyak Nagas. Now, a wise man once said, "Jab gobar hi khana hai, to hathi ka kha lo." So a decision was made based on this. I decided I will do the most daring adventure and go to the most remote village in Nagaland called Longwa village. So that brings me to chapter 2. It is about Longwa. I have titled it Close Encounter with an Assassin. Again, I will come to that explanation on the title. Now, just to give you an idea of where this Longwa village is. So this red pin is Longwa village. So as you can see, exactly on the Indo-Burma border. Yes, so this is courtesy Google Maps. I hope there is no copyright infringement. So this was just to show you where it is. Now, coming to the journey from Kohima to Longwa, there is no direct transportation to Longwa. First, you have to go to a place called Mon district. Now, the journey from Kohima to Mon district, very painstaking exercise. So back then, the only way to get from Kohima to Mon district was bus, and it is a 16 hours bus ride. Back then, no sleeper coach, completely sitting. But fortunately, the seats were good, they were quite comfortable. But 16 hours, that is what I had in store for me. So I purchased a bus ticket to Mon district. I started at about 1 p.m. in the afternoon, and I reached Longwa village next day around 6 or 6:30 in the morning. Sorry, I reached Mon district about 6 or 6:30 in the morning after starting at 1 the earlier afternoon. So it was very tiring journey, no doubt. Now from Mon district to get to Longwa village, it is another 2 hour journey. The only way to get there is shared sumos. So there are some local shared sumos. You have to get into them. Now there are only two sumos. One is 6 in the morning, and the second one is 2 in the afternoon. So I missed my 6 o'clock sumo. So I was only left with the second option of 2 p.m. So I had some time to kill in between. So I just booked a homestay. So it was run by a couple. They were really good, very hospitable people. So they also gave me homestay only for half a day, which they generally don't do. So they gave me good breakfast, lunch, etc. And after this, I was on my way to Longwa village. So I got into the shared sumo. I reached Longwa around 4:30, 5 o'clock in the evening. Now this is northeast, so the sun sets very fast. About 5 o'clock, you have sunset. So there was nothing much to do on the first day. So second day, I started exploring Longwa village. Now, one important point to be kept in mind here: if you are in Longwa village, it is the most remote part of Nagaland. So people are not used to having visitors from other places. So it is recommended, highly recommended, that you go only with a local guide because it may be a little risky. Again, this was 5 years back. Things might have changed. I don't know. So my local guide had told me the previous day itself, do not venture out on your own. I will come with you. So I took my local guide in the morning and we started exploring Longwa village. Now, the first thing that my local guide showed me is the home of the village chief. So, yes, even now they have a village chief who works along with the state government for the well being of the villagers over there. So, this is the home of the village chief. Of course, this was not the original model, this has been remodeled, reconstructed over the years. The interesting part of this home is the border between India and Burma that passes through the gate exactly. So this is not like India Pakistan where you have fencing. There is a LAC, line of actual control. This is just a discussed border line between two countries. So the border line exactly passes through the gate. So where I'm standing, that is exactly where the border passes. So you can even observe there is an Indian flag and a Burmese flag near the wall on the gate. So now, if you think about it, the village chief has his food in India and might be going to sleep in Burma. Fascinating. And here I even had an interaction with the Indian army. Because it is border, you have a heavy presence of Indian army. And they told me that you can go into Burma, there is no problem. You can go up to about 400 to 500 meters. Beyond that, they are not responsible. So I just went about 50, 100 meters, that's it. And I came back from there. So technically, I can claim that I have been to Burma. What I've only seen is some trees in Burma, but I can still claim that I was in Burma. Now, after this, yeah, so one more thing here, you are also allowed to enter the home of the village chief. So I had the good fortune of doing that. If you go inside the hall, this is how their hall is decorated. They have a lot of shields, weapons, and they also have trophies of animal heads. So this is how their hall has been decorated. Some more trophies from their animal hunting raids. This is the interior of the village chief. Now I couldn't meet the village chief again because apparently he was busy in some meeting, but something even better was stored for me. So I happened to meet one of the headhunters, actual headhunters who have killed people from the other tribe back in the day. Now there are a very handful of them now actually surviving in Lungwa village. So my tour guide took me to one of these headhunters' place. Now before I come to the picture, there is something you should know. So as I said, if you kill somebody from the other tribe and brought their head back, you could earn a lot of respect. In fact, the king of the tribe of gave you all sorts of honor. You were given gifts, weapons, etc. as a mark of honor. And in addition to that, the queen of the tribe, she drew tattoo for that warrior as a mark of respect. So they had tattoos on their face. They also could have tattoos on their arms. They could have tattoos on their chest. So that tells the other people that this person is very dangerous. This person has killed people. Now, if your head count or number of people you have killed crossed 10 people, then you could also get a tattoo on your neck. So, in case you come across somebody with a neck tattoo, extremely dangerous person, you should stay away from that man. So, that was the belief back then. Of course, now they don't kill anymore. But I had a good fortune of meeting that headhunter. So, yes, this is one of the surviving headhunters. So, if you observe on his face, you can see some green marking. That is the tattoo. On his chest, also, there is a tattoo which is drawn in green paint. He's proudly showing it off. I have been told that this person has killed about 6 people in his lifetime. Head count did not cross 10. And I've been told that people with neck tattoo, unfortunately, no longer surviving. So we only have headhunters without the neck tattoo. Now, I also have a picture with him. Of course, I am smiling, he's smiling. But later on, in hindsight, I realized that I am actually standing next to a killer. It hit me pretty late, but it's a fact. That's why I've titled this chapter Close Encounter with an Assassin. Maybe a cheesy tagline, but that is also true. Now, I also got to meet one other headhunter who's still surviving. So, yeah, this is another headhunter. So, pretty old now, but you can still see that distinct green tattoo on his face. So, that again symbolizes that he has killed a lot of people. He also had a chest tattoo, but he was not willing to show that. We can't force these people. Very risky. So yeah, I just have. So this I think is the most fascinating part about Lungwa village. This is the traditional village of the Konyak tribe, which is the most powerful, as I've already told you. And I had this fortune of meeting these headhunters. It that in itself was the most thrilling adventure I've ever had. And now the tourists have spoiled these people. I have been told that this guy, some tourist came, clicked a picture with him, offered him some money. So now he expects money from everyone who comes and clicks picture with him. So some tourists have spoiled them. Anyway, it's good for him. So now he's excited whenever somebody comes and meets him, asks for a picture. He is really excited. I also have a few other pictures to show you from Lungwa village. So this is the traditional hut what they have. If you see it, very distinct from the kind of huts that we have here. So this is a picture I've taken from the vantage point. So from here you can have a 360-degree view of the entire village. It's lush green, completely into the mountains, surrounded by valleys. Very beautiful, very picturesque. They also have a school now. They have a football ground as well. So yeah, things are looking up. Now, one other thing to be kept in mind: if you're a vegetarian, in Longma village, vegetarian options very limited. So 2 days I was on rice, dal, and this. So this is some kind of a salad. This is not cucumber. This is some locally grown creeper. So even the leaf that is from that creeper itself, they just boil it, sprinkle some salt, and it is served to you. So for them, it is a salad. For me, it was the main course. But fortunately, the my owner of the homestay, he did some jugaad, and on the last day, he prepared a breakfast of puri bhaji for me. And that was heaven. Trust me. That day I've hawked puri bhaji like anything. I did not even feel hungry till 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So this was about my second chapter. I just have one last chapter to go. Okay, so I have some couple of comments here. Okay, thank you so much for the encouragement. Okay, I have a question. People can have dual citizenship over here. Is it true? I'm not too sure about that, so I'll just display this comment for everyone's reference. So I'll just put this in the background. Yeah, I have a comment from Swati Patel. People can have dual citizenship over here. Is it true? Okay, so I'm not really sure about this, but yes, there are some people who claim Nagaland to be separate from India. So that issue is there. That is why it is in media. You might have heard that Nagaland is very unsafe to visit. But yeah, they do have their local identity card. So that shows that they are citizen of Nagaland. But ultimately now they have Aadhaar cards as well. So I'm not really sure about that dual citizenship thing. Maybe even I will have to research on this and I will get back to you. Sorry, I don't have a ready-made answer for this, but thank you so much for writing in. But they do have their local cards. They even have Aadhaar cards now. That's what I've been told. Yes, so this was my journey in Kohima and Lungwa village. Now the problem is it looks like I have visited only two cities, but in the mountains it is extremely time consuming. So I have spent a day and night just traveling from Kohima to Longwa, and another day and night traveling from Longwa to Kohima back. Yeah, so even I have a picture of that sumo if you want to see. Yes, so this is the point where you get into the sumo in Longwa village and go back to Mon district. From Mon district, again you catch a bus back to Kohima. Yeah, so very long, very tiring journey. I just have a last chapter to go before I wrap up. So the third chapter, I am calling it Midnight Miracle. I will not keep it too elaborate. So this was my journey back from Mon district to Kohima. Now, one mistake I made, I did not book the bus in advance. There are only two transport companies who provide this service. I took a different transport company thinking that I will have the same type of seats. Big mistake. And since I booked the ticket on spot, I got the second last row. Plus, the seat in front of me, the suspension was completely broken. So it was completely leaning on me. So I was completely jammed between two seats. So there was no space for me to move. Then what I did is I spotted, so I spotted a seat in the last row. There was a vacant seat, couple of vacancies actually in the last row. So I thought instead of being suffocated over here, maybe I can switch and go back to last seat if it is not occupied. So I went to the last seat. Again, I don't know whether it was a big mistake. I was stuck between the rock and a hard place, aage kuan, piche khai kind of a situation. Once the bus began, my nightmare started because the road is so bad. We were bouncing most of the time, and you all know how it is on the back seat. In my onward journey, I was on the second seat, so I did not feel a thing. Here, we are bouncing constantly. All five of us in the last row, no chance of sleeping. At one point, we almost hit our head against the roof of the bus. So that was our condition. I was actually very tired. It was a 2 week trip from Arunachal Pradesh to Nagaland again 1 week. Extremely tiring. The moment we had some good road, I was able to sleep. Again, there were potholes. Again, we were sent into the air. Extremely frustrating journey. And I was actually cursing myself, where have I landed? Why did I even come here? Somehow I managed to hold on till afternoon. I had a cup of tea, felt a little better. But again, back to the same crap. Finally, it was night, about 8:30, 9 o'clock, they stopped for dinner. I had the dinner. 9 o'clock, again, I tried to sleep. But unfortunately, the seat next to me, which was vacant, a person came and occupied, fell asleep instantly and started snoring. So whatever faint hope I had of sleeping, that also vanished. Now, somehow it was midnight. At midnight, they took a rest stop. So I got down for the rest stop. And in hills, when they take a rest stop, there is nothing around. There is just grass about knee high. Yes, and this is the washroom. Yeah, so men go in one direction, women go in another direction. You just find a spot in the grass and you do your thing. Of course, that is not what I wanted to talk about, but yes, it had stopped for that. Now I was waiting for the bus to start, and you won't believe, in that grass, in that night when it was almost pitch dark, I saw about 8 to 10 fireflies. Fireflies moving around in the grass, illuminating the night with their fluorescent green color. Trust me, it was an amazing moment. Now, it might look like a very simple moment for a lot of you, but I don't even remember the last when I've seen fireflies in my life. For somebody who has spent time in rural areas, for them it might be a common occurrence. For somebody like me from the city, never even remember when I've seen fireflies last. So it was a spectacular moment for me, watching these fireflies dancing around the grass, going around illuminating the night. So I think sometimes life gives you these precious moments, these moments which just make you awestruck. So I was just soaking into the beauty of the moment. And you won't believe, this completely put me in a different frame of mind altogether. Suddenly, I started feeling very positive. I did not think, this is a bad situation I'm in. Then I started thinking it is just a few hours and it will be morning and I'll be in Kohima. What's the big deal? So that few minutes completely changed my perspective. I did not feel that I'm in a bad situation. So finally, the bus started, and I do not have any picture of this. As they say, the best moments are never captured on camera. So this just stays in my memory, and I recall a lot of times. So I came, sat in the bus, and I slept. Surprisingly, in the morning also, before reaching Kohima, there was a big traffic jam. It did not affect me at all. So I reached Kohima. I mostly rested for that day. I just visited the war cemetery. Nothing great. If you have time on your hands, you can definitely visit that. So I rested that day. The next day, I went to uh, Dimapur again, and from Dimapur, I found my way back home. So yes, friends, this was about my experience in Nagaland. Yes, there are a lot more stories as well, but I did not want to take additional time. I've already gone on for, I can see, more than half an hour. I do have some additional stories as well. Maybe we will keep it for later. But yeah, initially I was very nervous. I did not know how this is going to go, but I think it was okay. Yes, so I think this is what I had basically in my mind from my end. So Nagaland, if I have to summarize, it is like a wild adventure that you can have. Definitely not recommended for family trips. For family trips, I would recommend Arunachal, very beautiful place. But if you want to have something like a weird adventure with your friends, then I would definitely suggest Nagaland. Yeah. So I have one more, comment here. I'll just put it up so that everybody can see. So next comment is from Archana Gudi. Is it safe for girls or females for solo trip too? No, in fact, yeah, there is one point I would like to clarify. There is an image built about Nagaland that it is not safe for travel. There is one issue of Naxals. Okay. So what happened is Nagaland was not part of India. Sorry, I'm digressing a little bit. But India was not, sorry, Nagaland was not part of India straight away in 1947 itself. So when this operation was started, annexing different states, bringing them into India. So India laid its claim to Nagaland about, I think, in the 50s. So now some people think that it was taken by force, and they feel that Nagaland is completely different from other states in India, different culture, etc. So it should be separate. It should not be a part of India. Some people believe it to this day. So that is why we have this issue of Naxals, but they have the tussle with Indian Army. Apart from that, Nagaland is very safe. I have not encountered any problem anywhere. People are really good, very hospitable, very welcoming. Of course, you are supposed to take some basic precautions, which you are anyway supposed to take no matter where you are. But apart from that, very amazing place, very helpful people. And to answer your question, there were even foreigners, women who had come on solo trip to Nagaland. Now you factor that. I think that itself will answer your question. You can even go as a group of girls. That should not be a problem. And even solo trip should not be a problem. Yeah. Yes. So if you have any further questions, you can definitely type it into the chat box. What I'm going to do is, I would definitely like to hear from you. If you have any feedback, any suggestions, any comments, anything. So I've created a separate email ID for that. So do write in into bonfirecon@gmail.com. So please notice the double N towards the end. Now, when I was creating this email ID, I realized how difficult it is to get the name of your choice. Oh, I tried some million combinations before I landed on this one. So please make a note. In case you have any suggestions, comments, please do write in. I would definitely like to hear from you guys. Okay, there is another comment which I have from Rushiraj. Yes, thank you, Rushiraj. It's really my pleasure. I would like to thank each one of you who has joined in, taking your time from Sunday afternoon. I know for a lot of people, Sunday afternoon is nap time, but still you're here. So I'm really thankful for that. Now, yes, so what I'll do is, so this is what I had from my end. In case you have any suggestions, comments, those who have me on DM, you can DM me as well, or you can write into this email ID bonfirecon@gmail.com. Yeah, so friends, this is pretty much what I had from my side. Now, on the second episode, I really don't know. I will keep you posted. So I wish all of you a great Sunday evening ahead. Thank you so much for joining in once again. Thanks a lot. Happy Sunday.